Most people believe that relationship problems start with misunderstandings. Welcome to emotional shadow arguments, or mismatched, but the truth is far more unsettling. Beneath what looks like a simple disagreement, or what feels like emotional distance, there can be an invisible force quietly steering how your partner reacts, withdraws, connects, or pulls away. This force is powerful enough to shape the rhythm of love, distort communication, and rewrite the emotional atmosphere of a relationship without either person realizing where the tension truly originates. This hidden force is the echo of trauma-old wounds that never healed, memories stored in the body as reflexes, reactions, and survival strategies. It operates beneath conscious awareness, yet it determines far more of your partner's behavior than you've ever been told. When psychologists like Freud first explored the unconscious, they suggested that our past experiences silently guide our present decisions. Later, attachment theorists such as John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth demonstrated that early relational wounds form patterns that follow us into adulthood. More recent research in neuroscience has shown that the brain encodes traumatic events in a different network, one built for survival, not reflection. That means trauma doesn't just linger. It activates, responds, and influences behavior as if danger is still present. What most people don't expect is how this trauma reappears inside romantic relationships, disguised as personality quirks, mood swings, or emotional needs that seem confusing or inconsistent. The twist is that the trauma isn't about you, even though it feels like it is. It's a response to an old story being triggered by a new connection. To understand how these echoes begin, we must go back to their origin. Hidden trauma often starts long before adulthood, sometimes before a person even recognizes the meaning of the events shaping them. Childhood environments filled with emotional neglect, unpredictable affection, harsh criticism, or unstable parental behavior create survival patterns that become embedded into the nervous system. A child who learned that love comes with uncertainty grows into an adult who monitors every shift in tone. A child who learned that expressing needs led to punishment becomes a partner who suppresses emotions before they can cause conflict. A child who grew up calming others to survive becomes an adult who fears disappointing the person they love. These patterns do not disappear with age. They evolve into relationship strategies that feel natural but are rooted in fear, not connection. As the person enters romantic relationships, these early strategies rise again. At first, they may not appear disruptive. In fact, many of them look positive or even admirable, being overly accommodating, always staying calm, avoiding conflict, or appearing emotionally independent. But as the relationship deepens, the emotional stakes increase, and the nervous system begins to interpret closeness as a risk. This is when the initial rise of trauma influence becomes obvious. The partner who once seemed stable now feels overwhelmed. The partner who promised honesty now avoids important conversations. The partner who used to be affectionate becomes distant at unexpected moments. These shifts are not chosen. They are triggered. The brain is trying to protect the person from repeating something painful, even if the current partner is nothing like the people who caused the original wound. The deeper the bond grows, the more powerful these trauma echoes become. Small things turn into emotional threats. A delayed text can trigger abandonment fears formed in childhood. A disagreement can activate memories of unpredictable anger. A moment of silence can feel like rejection. Without realizing it, your partner starts responding to the past, not the present. And because these reactions are unconscious, they often appear irrational. The person experiencing them rarely understands why they feel such intense fear, sadness, or anger. They may blame themselves, blame you, or blame the relationship, without seeing that the real conflict is old and unresolved. At some point, the first major breaking points appear. These are the moments where trauma overwhelms connection. It might show up as emotional shutdown, where your partner disconnects without explanation because their system believes distance equals safety. It may appear as explosive arguments that don't match the situation, because their body reacts to you as if you are someone from their past. It may appear as self-sabotage, pulling away right when things are going well, because stability feels unfamiliar and therefore unsafe. These breaking points create confusion, hurt, and misunderstanding. You may feel pushed away for no reason. They may feel triggered by things they don't understand. And both partners begin a cycle where love exists, but fear controls the outcome. When these cycles continue without awareness, intimacy begins to suffer. Emotional closeness becomes inconsistent. Trust becomes fragile. Conversations feel heavier, riskier, or loaded with unspoken tension. Moments that should strengthen the relationship instead create distance. Attempts to fix the issue often fail because people usually try to address the symptoms: communication problems, emotional inconsistency, conflict style, without addressing the root cause, which is unresolved trauma, shaping perception and behavior. Without understanding the deeper cause, both partners may feel like they're trying but getting nowhere. One may feel constantly misunderstood, the other constantly triggered. Both may feel exhausted by the same arguments repeating in different forms. Modern relationship research reveals just how common these patterns are. Studies show that nearly half of adults carry some form of attachment, insecurity rooted in earlier experiences. Many people unconsciously reenact past pain through the partners they choose or through the way they react within relationships. Emotional manipulation patterns often emerge unintentionally. Avoidance masquerades as independence. Anxiety masquerades as love, and control masquerades as protection. Meanwhile, communication breakdowns follow familiar scripts. Someone withdraws, the other pursues. Both feel rejected. These patterns repeat because the trauma remains unprocessed and unacknowledged, operating quietly beneath every emotional interaction. What makes this especially challenging is that trauma echoes often appear right when the relationship becomes meaningful. The closer someone gets to real emotional vulnerability, the louder their past wounds become. Love becomes the stage where old fears return. Fear of losing someone, fear of being judged, fear of being abandoned, fear of not being enough. These fears shape reactions long before either partner understands what's happening. And unless the trauma is recognized, the relationship becomes a battlefield of invisible forces neither partner intended to fight. There are three powerful takeaways that emerge from understanding this hidden dynamic. First, your partner's emotional reactions are often shaped by experiences that happened long before you entered their life. This doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but it reveals that the true cause is deeper than the moment you're witnessing. Second, relationships become healthier not by avoiding triggers, but by understanding them, by seeing the emotional patterns, naming the fears, and recognizing when the past is intruding on the present. Awareness begins the process of breaking cycles that once felt inevitable. Third, communication mastery requires recognizing not just what is said, but what is activated beneath the words. Emotional intelligence in relationships isn't just about listening. It's about noticing the emotional survival strategies your partner uses when they feel unsafe. Understanding these trauma echoes invites a deeper reflection on the fragility of trust and love. Every relationship carries invisible weight stories, wounds, memories, and fears accumulated over years. The more two people understand these forces, the more they can protect the connection from breaking under their pressure. Love thrives not when both partners are perfect, but when both partners become aware of the hidden forces shaping their responses. And if you've noticed these patterns in your own relationship, your awareness is already the first step toward transformation. If this exploration opened your eyes to the deeper emotional mechanics operating behind romantic behavior, consider subscribing and staying connected to the channel. There is so much more beneath the surface of love, and every week we dive into the hidden layers that shape relationships in ways most people never notice. Your next breakthrough might be one video away.